Smashers cannot be denied.
The search for the first champion team for the first and only professional volleyball league in the country is definitely on, and it is heating up. Earlier today, in our first game of the semis, it's a classic. A five-setter between Creamline Cool Smashers and the Petrogas Angels, and Creamline coming from behind once again to snatch another five-setter to go 1-0 in that matchup, which sets up this semifinal matchup between number 2 and number 3, and it is a towering matchup between the Cherry TIGGO Crossovers, the number 2 team of the league, and the number 3 team, the Choco Mucho Flying Titans. It's all happening in the PCV Social, Civic, and Cultural Center in Ilocos Norte, and all on One Sports and One Sports Plus. My name is Boom Gonzalez together with Neil Flores. Magandang hapon, Pilipinas. Thank you very much for watching. Oh, we have been talking about this, Neil, since yesterday. We are so excited for the semifinals in general. And we get this matchup, the number 2 and number 3, which we did yesterday. But technically, as you mentioned, that was a no-bearing game. So let's go through it. What did you remember or pick up from yesterday's game, Neil?
Well, it was a different kind of matchup for both of these teams as the coaches gave their starters a chance to rest, and they also gave opportunities to the second stringers to play in that game. But we have to give it to Cherry TIGGO. They played an excellent game. Lalo na nung second set, that was a dominating 25-9 win for the crossovers. And looking at the top performers, you have Mylene Paat with 11 points, Jaja Santiago with 10 in that two sets playing time. And then for the other side, you also have Caitlin Veray with a 10-point performance and Kat Tolentino with 6.
Now, just to frame what you're saying for those who were not able to watch, Cherry TIGGO started with their usual starters. For 2 sets actually played. And then ang Choco Mucho, ipinahinga ng konti ang kanilang mga top players. And speaking of top players and popular phrases, Neil, we always hear big three in almost any sport. So let's talk about that for these two teams. Unahin natin ang Cherry TIGGO, Neil.
Yeah, Jaja Santiago has shown the discipline she got from playing in Japan. As you can see, she is the number 2 scorer and the number 1 spiker of the league with a 55% efficiency. Dagdag pa natin dyan yung deadly services as the number 1 server and number 5 blocker as well. You also have Dindin Santiago Manabat scoring 114 points as the number 11 scorer of the league. And ang maganda kay Dindin, she has developed consistency in her attack from the back row. Then you have Jasmine Abor. At first, she wasn't playing, but eventually, she finally got that spot as a starting setter. And yung setters talaga, they glue the transition plays and all of the sequences in every game.
And another thing that we've been talking about, not just you, but our other analyst friends, is the fact that they have stabilized their starting 6, which includes this girl, Mylene Paat, who is coming into the semifinals, averaging 7.44 44 points a game. But that doesn't tell the story of the value of Mylene Paat for Cherry TIGGO.
Yeah, I would have to agree that she's really the X factor. From being a natural opposite spiker, she transitioned to becoming an outside hitter, and that's not so easy to do. It took some time, but as a veteran, she was able to adapt to the challenge of their coach. Look at the numbers of Mylene Paat: 53 attacks, 7 blocks, and 5 aces.
Win yung panalo in 3 sets against the Choco Mucho Flying Titans, who have their own big 3. And remember, this was the hottest team in the league before they eventually lost towards the end to have a blemish in their record. But that doesn't take away the fact that these girls are on the hunt for a championship, and it will depend on these 3, Neil.
Yeah, the Flying Titans, they're one of those teams that very balanced when it comes to team composition. But the big 3 that we're talking about is number 1, Kat Tolentino, who has been branded as the ace of their team in this conference. Number 3 scoring right now. And then you have Dina Wong, who has been the rock of this team, pulling the strings excellently for the Choco Mucho Flying Titans. 6.21 excellent sets per set, and that's a huge help for the Choco Mucho Flying Titans. And you have Maddie Madayag, a force to be reckoned with, especially on the defensive side, on the number 2 blocker in our league.
And we're not even talking about guys like BDL pa and her value, and of course Denden Lazaro, which I'm sure we will touch on. But you always say, Neil, when we talk about Choco Mucho, the key is production from the wings. And this girl is going to be important. She didn't play the last game because she was basically trying to recondition from the cramps that she experienced in the match before against Dreamline. How important will Regina Rocha be?
Well, as a former NCAA champion and MVP, much is expected from Regina Rocha. She has been on and off in the scoring picture, but knowing this team, hindi lang atake kasi yung pwedeng i-contribute ni Regina Rocha. The non-scoring skills are very important as a wing spiker, yung receiving and digging.
That's right. Regina Rocha, the two-time NCAA Finals MVP. Among the players left in the semifinals, she has come in also as a number 10 in digging and receiving. So she's also very important, not just from an offense standpoint, but also from a defensive standpoint. But we gotta shine the light also on Maddie Madayag, who's really climbed the rankings here para sa Choco Mucho. How essential is she going to be knowing that there's a Jaja Santiago on the other end and a Tindin Santiago who's attacking the pipe and attacking the open too?
Yeah, in the earlier parts of this conference, I was still looking for that fluid connection of Maddie Madayag with Dina Wong. And if they finally get that perfect mix of quick attacks and running hits, magiging maganda yung pagkalat ng opensa ng Choco Mucho against Cherry TIGGO, which we know na napakalakas na attacking team.
And you're looking at the number 2 blocker in the league behind Riri Meneses, who's ahead by a mile, by the way, in terms of the number of blocks. But that doesn't take away the effectivity of Madayag, who is healthy and raring to contribute to Choco Mucho. On the other side, let's pick out Shaya Adorador. What about her, Neil, her importance to this Cherry TIGGO campaign?
Aside from Jaja Santiago, she is probably the second best server on their team. She can easily score 5 to 6 service aces in a single game. And let's add the fact that she's also a steady receiver and a good digger.
Shaya Adorador officially is number 6 in serving. She's got 13 aces already in the tournament, and the team in itself, Neil, ang Cherry TIGGO, is also number 1 in terms of services. They have 2.28 service aces per set on the average, and that girl is responsible for most of them, of course. Shaya Adorador is responsible for the rest of it. All right, Jaja Santiago is the center of attraction for Cherry TIGGO, and the talk about her always is she's going to be the most conditioned athlete. The schedule of Cherry TIGGO, although nakapagpahinga sila dito sa ating dulo, no, because they were out since Wednesday, right? At bumalik lang kahapon. They, after the loss against Santa Lucia in 5 sets, they met Creamline in 4 sets, then Petrogas, then Army, then Choco Mucho in 3 sets. They have tested themselves, Neil, in this tournament.
Yeah, and Jaja will also be the center of offense for the Cherry TIGGO crossover against a good blocking and digging team in the Choco Mucho Flying Titans. So it's gonna be a good matchup. Heavy serving against excellent receiving on the side of Denden Lazaro Revilla. Maganda tong match na to, Boom.
55% accuracy, efficiency from attacking for that girl. So it's about time we go to our competition announcer, finally, Noel Zarate, to get us going for semi-final game number 2 for your Sunday doubleheader here on your Premier Volleyball League Open Conference.
And now our national referees for game 1. Our first referee, Lubert Bajarillo. Second referee is Joy de Imus. And now let's meet the starters first for the Cherry TIGGO crossovers. Middle blocker from the National University, number 3, team captain, Jaja Santiago. Center also from NU, number 4, Jasmine Nabor. Opposite hitter from Anderson University, number 7, Mylene Pat. Middle blocker from the University of Santo Tomas, number 10, Micah Ortiz. Outside spiker from the University of the East, number 11, Shaya Adorador. Outside spiker also from NU, Betty Matayag. Outside spiker number 9, Pauline Gaston. Opposite hitter number 10, Kat Tolentino. Middle blocker number 14, Bea De Leon. Outside spiker from Arellano University number 21, Regina Rocha. And starting in a row, number 13,
Your starting 6 for the number 2 team, Cherry TIGGO Crossovers. The 6 that has brought them a 4-game winning streak, also Neil, coming into the semifinals. So not only are they kind of rested, they're also on top of their game with a 4-game winning streak. Choco Mucho, Flying Titans, will now revert back to the original starting 6, which we didn't see yesterday. Pinahingan nila si Arocha, pinahingan nila si Kat Tolentino the first set. And a little bit of Pongay Gaston also in that game, but this is now where it really counts, Steve.
Yeah, Cherry TIGGO will be sticking to that solid 7 lineup for Coach Aaron Velez. On the other hand, for Choco Mucho, they will be going back to the real starting 6.
So yesterday, as we talked about, was a day to kind of get some training, some practice, some court time for a lot of the bench players, especially in that third set. Went down the wire pa nga. But Neil has been preaching that that is also a very important thing because you never know when you're going to need your bench, especially in this grind called the PVL. Just ask Creamline and Petrogas, who went to 5 sets earlier today. But gets us going. Tolentino is rejected.
For sure, they have preparations against Kat Tolentino, talking about the blockers of Cherry TIGGO. So Dina Wong has to be able to maximize the sides or the wings to be able to get the blockers moving.
Jaja Santiago will be credited for that. That will be her 21st block of the season, of the tournament. Oh, miscommunication there. Tied at 1-1. We expect a long one today, Neil. I hope you got some good sleep dahil semifinals na. Wala nang magbibigayan dito from the coaching staff down to the last player.
And I'm sure the fans would want a full stretched game.
Why not? Halos isang linggo na lang tayo, so we might as well maximize as BDL gets us going at this rally. Adorador goes down the line, and it's good.
For Choco Mucho, they have to be at the same level in terms of attacking because they fizzle out pag medyo lamang yung kalaban nila in attack points. And right now, Cherry TIGGO is just maximizing all of the players on the court. That was your spike of the set, brought to you by Duncan.
2-1 is our score. Bongay. Back to her. Buding. Oh, nice find by Jaja Santiago. You mentioned the 55.26 success rate to Jaja Santiago. It's over and above everybody else. The closest to her is actually on the other side, Kat Tolentino and Eliza Valdez, both at 39%. Imagine the gap of the success rate with Jaja at 55%.
More than 10% discrepancy on the efficiency. But again, just look at the height and the reach of Jaja Santiago against the blockers of her opponents. That's clearly an advantage for Cherry TIGGO.
3-2 is our score. Kat Tolentino, number 3 scorer in the league. And 6th best spiker in the league among the players who are remaining here in the semifinals. That is out. And this is really the girl also has been on fire in this 4-game winning streak for Jaja Santiago, as we mentioned yesterday.
Much needed support. And just looking at the attackers of Cherry TIGGO on the floor, all of them can intentionally get those points for Coach Aaron. Right now, they're up by 2 points.
Number 1 server in the league. With 16 aces in the tournament so far. Overpass, but they get it back. Bongay. This is going to be crucial if their outside hitters really find their mark today from Choco Mucho.
Yeah, because we know that the quickers of Choco Mucho will really get those numbers. But if you have the support from the outside hitters, napakalaking tulong yan in scoring for the Flying Titans.
They become less predictable, ano? 3 serving 4. Pat receiving. Din. Somebody touched the net.
I think that hit the antenna before it went out. So that will be a point for the Flying Titans.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So Gaston will continue to serve. Bongay, who is the 12th best scorer among the remaining players in the semifinals. 78 points total coming into the semifinals, almost 9 points a game. And dagdagan mo pa ng mga ganyang serve.
That's what you want. You have to force the reception of TIGGO to make a mistake, to take Judge Santiago out of the equation. Because if they can't go to that quick hits, they will be forced to go to Dindin Santiago Manabat, Shaya Adorador, or Maylin Paat.
For Bongay Gaston, that was, by the way, her 5th ace of the tournament. 5-4. Cherry TIGGO in the lead. And another good server for Cherry TIGGO, the #1 serving team in the league. If I'm not mistaken, Neil, they have 3 players in the top 10 of serving. Dindin, Jaja, and Shaya are all in the top 10.
Yeah, they might not have steady reception all the time, but they make up for it with the service area. But Choco Mucho will get that point back, courtesy of that 1-2 play from Dina Wong.
Good pass by Denden. Dina finding that spot for the 6-5 score. And Manny on deck. Arocha. Cat from the back. Ding with a chance here. Back to Dindin. This one's down the line, making sure it doesn't hit any part of the antenna this time.
Part of the towers of Cherry TIGGO. Again, just maximizing her height and reach to go over that block.
Spike of the set brought to you by Duncan. Sunday evening, thanks for watching us on One Sports and One Sports Plus in the matchup between #2 and #3 in the Final Four, the semifinals of your PVL. So Dindin Santiago, who is 5th in scoring, sends it wide. 5th in serving, rather, sends it wide. This time, BDL saw that coming.
Perfectly timed by Bea De Leon as they grab a 2-point lead as we enter our technical time.
Michael Ortiz tsaka si Pahat. I know.
We're back with you for more semi-final action between Choco Mucho and Cherry TIGGO. And Choco Mucho, courtesy of 2 straight points for BDL, give themselves the biggest lead of the match so far, 3 points.
Cherry TIGGO might have the advantage in attack points 5-3, but the defense of Choco Mucho always saves them when the going gets tough.
Good pickup there by Kat. Arocha is checked. Revilla was there, mababa, and it's already a setting error to begin with. Dina Wong.
Yeah, double contact violation will be called on Dina Wong. masyado din mababa yung kuha for that set.
Micah Ortiz.
He has become a mainstay in the starting 7
For sure.
for Cherry TIGGO.
Good pick up there by Adorador. Sabay bigay kay Dindin. Linihis. Now those pipe attacks have been so good looking for Santiago Manabat.
When you're coming from the back row, you have a better view on which angles you have to choose.
Yun pa yung iisipin mo dun. You're looking at the view, you're looking at the defense, and then it's another thing to execute the actual attack. That's Pat, by the way, who saved that ball off a cross-court attack from Cap Tolentino. So 3 straight points here for Cherry TIGGO.
What I love about Jaja is kahit ano pa mang set ibigay mo sa kanya, he will find a way to adjust and still score for Cherry TIGGO.
Helps that she's 6'5" and has some hang time too. Another service error, very uncharacteristic here for Cherry TIGGO. They give away a point.
They have to be cautious about those unforced errors because they're playing against a team that has played clean volleyball throughout this open conference.
Errors, they are a master of limiting errors. That's part of all of their 7 wins. And even in their losses, there was one loss where they had 17 errors in that game, and that still was still a good game for them. Just out-attack lang. I think that was the green line match. Sorry, that was 19 errors. Green line at 32, and it was out-attack.
That's right.
Green line. Smabit.
Another net violation called on Cherry TIGGO.
Ito naman, error-prone ang Cherry TIGGO. Baliktad ang laro, ano? Getting a little bit of help from the tape of the net.
Middle blockers won't be getting yung mga sumasabit sa net. It will always be the open spiker to anticipate that ball.
So back to another 3-point lead for Choco Mucho. So it's a game of runs so far, Neil. 3-point
During every game, yung receiving or passing for that first ball. CHOCOMUCHO just doing their homework and serving hard against Cherry TIGGO.
Rocha will start this rally. Oh! And a service ace.
Let's make that 3 service aces for the Flying Titans as they lead by 4 points. Yesterday in that game, Cherry was actually on top in that department, the blocking and the serving, but right now, CHOCOMUCHO is in control.
In terms of serving, Choco Mucho is last, Neil, at 1.3 service aces a match. Denden keeping it alive, 4-point lead. Make that 5 for Pongay Gaston.
He has been steady for CHOCOMUCHO, targeting the right hand of Jasmine Nabor.
Pongay has really turned into an offense-defense complete player. 12th in scoring, 9th in spiking, and then both 7th in digging and receiving. As you saw the reaction there by somebody Neil knows very well.
Almost the most animated person on the floor, but Jaja Santiago, all power off that quick attack.
They needed that. Now, one thing we've seen though in this winning streak ng Cherry TIGGO and this resurgence after the the loss against Balipur and Santa Lucia is that parang lately we haven't seen them panic in situations where they have to catch up.
Well, they're composed of mostly veterans,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
during their college days, sure ako, sanay na sila sa mga ganitong klaseng laban.
Right now, it is all Choco Mucho in this part of the set. Biggest lead of the match at 5, matching the 14-9 score earlier. As Bea De Leon 8th best server here in the semifinal, or at least the players who are left here in the semifinals. She's 8th best. Wow, it's a good check by Pongay and Maddie, establishing the biggest lead of the match at 6.
Okay, we're doing good. Huwag tayong magmadali, okay? Anong ginagawa ni Jaja? Okay, pag miss-receive, look ha, pag miss-receive, hindi na siya 8-week. Zero tempo. Mas madali yung blocking kasi hindi naman siya 8-week, hindi siya zero tempo. Hindi siya zero tempo ha. So, iwas-iwas lang. Kumuha lang kayo ng area. Ngayon, nandito yung paat. Ito yung paat. Papasok dyan, baka si Jaja ang may papasok yung paat. Tatapon, mag-grab. Okay, paat.
Okay. Ranking number 1 for best spiker and ranking number 2 for best scorer para kay Jaja Santiago ng Cherry TIGGO crossovers. Expect nyo daw na lalagyan nila ng puso ang bawat galaw nila sa court dahil ang kanilang ultimate end goal ay makapunta sa championships because every move is worth a point. Let's get back to set 1 with the intense matchup of the Flying Titans and the crossovers.
Thank you very much, Aitan Sai, reporting from Ilocos Norte. It is a 6-point lead for the Choco Mucho Flying Titans. How did we get here, Neil? How did this lead balloon to 6?
It has been all about the serving of Choco Mucho. They're finding the right targets. Right now, they're going to Maylin Paat. So Cherry TIGGO has to be able to make their own adjustments. Goremdes has to take over. And sometimes when you see a player struggling on the reception side, kumukuha ng mas malaking area yung libero.
Agawan mo na ng bola, kumbaga. It's interesting, the matchup, because, again, Choco Mucho is last in terms of serving efficiency among the teams left in the semifinals, ha? And yet, ang pinaka-huli dyan, pagdating sa reception naman, is Cherry TIGGO, who are at number 10. So it's such an interesting kontrapelo.
Yeah. Kumbaga, one skill will neutralize the other, and ganun yung nangyayari right now.
Another hit there by Pongay. It is beyond the antenna. So, folks, even if that doesn't hit the antenna, the fact that it's beyond the antenna, that is a violation. That is considered out, just like that serve.
We have been committing a couple of service errors. 3 unofficially.
So, yeah, it's a third, if I'm not mistaken. From very good servers, too. 5-point lead. Semi-final action. Again, another broken play and another point given away. At tuloy-tuloy ang magagandang serve. Magagandang serve at masasamang reception. Receive nitong Cherry TIGGO.
Yeah, if you can't execute a perfect pass for centers, they only ask for a high ball instead. Kumbaga, hindi na kailangan perfect as long as we can set up our offense. Gagawa natin ng paraan.
Doon papasok yung skill level ng setter, ano? Chance here for Choco. Oh, what a save there by Benten. Oh, we have to see that again.
Even the break going on the side of Choco Mucho.
Look at this reaction. And then she gets out of the way. Wow. That's a highlight play. Minsan lang may highlight play ang libero. Another bad first ball. Nagawan pa ng paraan ni Jaja. Ni Dindin, rather.
Chance ball for Cherry TIGGO.
The lead is now 7. And Dina Wong finds a gaping hole.
That is a convincing 8-point lead so far. Wala naman masyadong spectacular ginagawa ang Choco Mucho ngayon, but executing all of the basic skills really well.
That's a good point. Almost dropped in, but no. Cat Tolentino serves it out. Yes, it was that close, coach. It's a game of inches. 13 will be serving 20. Can Cherry Tigo mount a comeback here?
It's time for Jaja Santiago to challenge naman yung reception ng Choco Mucho. Again, she's the #1 server and yan yung nagiging result if you get a faulty reception from Choco Mucho. You can get a lot of gifts at the top of the net.
Over-received. It's an overpass by Arocha. Who's number 10 in that department. They go to that side again. But this time it's out. Arandeles has a word. Jaja Santiago as her team is down 7. And Pongay Gaston comes into the semifinals, averaging almost 9 a game, a shade under 9 points a game. Another problematic ball. A touch on the net though.
Coming into the second set, it's a must for Cherry Tigo to fix that first ball. Because you have a lot of skilled attackers. Right now, they have Micah Ortiz, Dindin Santiago Manabat. You also have Maylene Pat on the back row.
Well, alongside Creamline, those are the best attacking teams in the league. Arocha. Dindin keeps it alive. Hinabol ni Wong. Chance ball. Micah asking for it, but they go to Dindin again, and she fires a rocket.
You cannot give Dindin Santiago a single blocker. What an emphatic kill from Dindin Santiago Manabat.
Nakapatong ng gusto. And even a little bit of a strut from Dindin. The lead, which was at 8, is down to 5. Another good server on deck. So now it's the turn of Choco Mucho to struggle with the first ball. Binalikan na naman si Dindin. This time, she gets denied.
Ginawang roaring back at Dindin Santiago Manabat.
At bumalik din ang tingin si Dindin after. Parang, okay, you got me there. That's the block. And then the reaction, and then Dindin looks back. Hindi na nahuli doon, but Elaine Casilag is in now. What is the logic for the substitution team?
Now perhaps more attack options for Cherry Tigo. And also blocking.
Okay. Because right now, they're down by 6 again. Binigay kay Casilag. Malamig na malamig. Overpass, and Bea De Leon restores order for Choco Mucho with a lead of 7. Topic of the timeout, definitely first ball. Receiving. Last team in terms of receiving. 40.31 efficiency in terms of receiving. Actually, they're both not so good. One is number 10, Choco Mucho is number 9. But right now, in this first set, Choco Mucho is the one doing better. Another overpass off a timeout. What a painful first set para sa Cherry Tigo, the number 2 team in the league.
Yeah, they have their target locked on back right now. Even pressuring her service reception.
And that toys with your head, doesn't it? If you're paat, if you're the player na binabakbakan at kina-target. As Dindin saves one set point.
Yeah, but you can also take that as
As
a
a
challenge.
challenge, right.
You keep on asking for those services
Sige
until
lang.
you get your perfect pass.
The only way, as they say, the only way out is through. Uncharacteristic for Benden. A high chance ball and a wide one too. So 2 set point save.
That's uncharacteristic of one of our better receivers.
It's only human.
Yeah. That was her first mistake in this game.
First mistake, right. 18 serving 24. 2 set points save. And an easy free point for Choco Mucho to get the first set in their pockets. Coach O and the rest of the Flying Titans are ahead. The semi-final action continues here in your first and only professional volleyball league in the country. This is the Premier Volleyball League semi-final match number 2 versus number 2, Cherry TIGGO Crossovers, and number 3, the Choco Mucho Flying Titans, who take set number 1. How did they do it, Neil?
It was volleyball 101 for the Choco Mucho Flying Titans. They served hard, they chose their targets well, and it pressured Cherry TIGGO to be out of system. Although, nakita rin naman natin, when Cherry TIGGO has a good pass, they can really convert on offense.
Ang una natin titignan sigurado dito pagdating sa first set when we check out the stats is the errors para dito sa Cherry TIGGO. All being brought to us by Rebisco and 9 as expected.
Yeah, 13 attacks against the 8 of CHOCOMUCHO, but they edged out Cherry TIGGO in blocking 3-1, and the 5 service aces.
Yon, baliktad ano?
Yung nag-dictate ng pace ng game na yun. Wala pa yung mga misreception na na-set up pa ng Cherry TIGGO.
Right, and 0 for Cherry TIGGO, the number 1 serving team in the league. A matchup again brought to you by Rebisco. Boom Gonzalez, Neil Flores, IE Tensai is right there at the PCV Social Civic and Cultural Center, Baccaray, Ilocos Norte. Set number 2 for game number 2. Wherever you are watching the PVL, magandang gabi Pilipinas. Thank you for tuning in. How will Choco Mucho adjust? We'll find out.
Imagine with receptions, Cherry TIGGO was still able to convert 13 attacks.
Wow.
So they really have to make their own adjustments in the second set as
Speaking
Layo
of adjustments,
gets her first point of this ball game.
we started the season. Yan Layug was one of the starters for Cherry TIGGO. She swipes it off PDL. Sino ba pinalitan ni Layug dito? Si Paat ba? No? Looks like it, ano?
Yeah.
Yes. Puding. Dindin pushes it to the middle with a rolling ball, but a more forceful rolling ball there, off speed.
Better start for the crossover.
It all depends on that first ball. It was a better first ball for Buding. Not perfect,
Yeah.
but better.
Dindin Santiago Manaba just enjoying every point that she gets.
Wong checked at the net. Was PVL. Cap. That's low. Not over. Cat Tolentino coming into the semifinals averaging 15.44 points a game.
She was the #1 scorer in the 2019 conference, but now she will settle for third. Still good numbers for Tolentino.
139 points all in all coming into the semifinals. How many did she make today? Did you say earlier?
114, if I'm not
14 na.
mistaken. Yeah. I'm sorry, that's Dindin Santiago Manaba. I will
Yeah.
check for.
No, I think it is 139 para kay Kat. Yeah. After 9 games in the elimination round. Yan! So impact points off the bench for Ariel Layug.
2 points coming off attack. But when she goes to that back row, mas kailangan niya pumasa ng tama for Cherry TIGGO.
Kaya importante yung laro kahapon din na itong mga player ng Cherry TIGGO nakasalang ng konti. No? Got some court time, got some rust off, got some confidence going. So now that they're being used, they're always ready to play. That's tough. It's hard. It's tough to win that matchup at the net against either Santiago. And a hot start for Coach Aaron Velas's girls. 5-1 in set number 2. Usually Cherry TIGGO in this tournament is known to be error prone, but they make up for it for attacks, no? But in this first set kanina, just sinabi na nga ni Neil kanina na kahit dyan sa departamento na yan, natalo sila ng Choco Mucho. But here at the start of the second set, a little better. A good timeout by Coach O, and a tough one-hand set by Tina Wong.
Good speed, quick play. You can't give too basic na mga A-quick against Jaja Santiago.
It's a spike of the set brought to you by Duncan. How tough is that set though by Dina Wong? On TV it looks so simple. It looks easy, but Neil, that's not easy, isn't it?
Yeah, it really requires control and precision to be able to give that to a quicker. And they've trained for those one-hand sets.
Repetition din, ano? Cat on top of the ball on that one for their third point. Got some good rest yesterday. And a little bit of court time in the second set, basically. As PDL on your screens. The 11th scorer in the league. Adorador with a tough bump set. Good dive by Wong. Chance here for Cherry TIGGO. Better first ball, better dig there. And it leads to a good attack. So you see the pattern that Neil is talking about. As long as that first ball is decent.
Yeah, especially pag magkatabi si Jaja and si Dindin. Look at that. Madayag can't be delayed by that quick attack of Jaja Santiago.
Mamimili ka eh, no?
And you can see Coach Aaron Velas maximizing the two liberos of Cherry TIGGO.
Wow, good decision by Denden at that last second. Jaja is claiming that it hit Denden.
But that point will still go to CHOCOMUCHO.
That is her second service error today. Again, that's the #1 server in the league, so it's surprising. And it's creeping. The errors are creeping up. Broken play. Out of system, but still a point. Micah Ortiz has not made much noise here so far in this match.
Also a one-hand set from Labor.
tama, tama.
Their own version of that one.
Parehong matangkad, parehong mahaba ang galamay, at pareho nang may one-hand set dito.
Both of them also attacking setters.
Yes.
Mahilig din yan sa 1-2 plays.
Right. Good serve by Shaya. And Coach O is not happy.
Beautiful!
Importante lang kung umat yung bola. Kaya naman ni Jasmine mag-jump set. Okay? Ngayon, masyadong mahaba yung serve natin to a point na error. Kaya sila dumudulo. Mentally, gusto nilang umatras kasi hindi nila mag-forward. Eh, yun lang sa may babae natin. Mas magandang block natin. Okay? Wala. Pagdating mo sa harap, ikaw mag-adjust kay Jazz. Kasi kapag nakasiksik kayo, dumudukot, bumababa, nailang siya. So ikaw umabot, kaltukan mo lang.
Eight-4 is the score here as we return to our broadcast. One Sports and One Sports Plus. Let's make that 8-5 after that point. This is a service ace by a service error rather by Cherry TIGGO to give away a point to Choco Mucho again. Buti na lang meron silang Tintin Santiago making up for that reception error.
It was already out of system, but Dindin Santiago Manabat not giving up on that play, putting in so much power that even then Lazaro Revilla wasn't able to get that one.
Overpass. Bongay there recovering, and Cat will push it to the other side. It's a 4-point lead. Micah asking for it, and that's why.
It's the turn of the crossover to really scramble the reception of Choco Mucho. Yun yung sinasabi natin, they have so much in their playbook na pwede nilang bunutin at any point in time.
Dindin's turn to serve.
9 points already.
Already, no? Tama.
Dindin.
Arocha scores that one. Dindin is averaging close to 13 a game. And that's because of that run that they made in the last 4 games. That spike brought to you by Duncan. It's a spike of the set. 4-point lead. Oh! What happened there, Neil?
Halos maaaring ikot yung bola eh. That's the difficult part about receiving a float serve.
Wala talaga, oh.
You don't know when it will fall down.
It's a dead ball. And Dindin says, I was in position. And they go back to Shaya. Micah again. Jaja with a pickup. Yan sends it over. Justin Dorog was there. Sa gitna na naman dinala. Pongay, overpass. They will set it. Back to Yan. Yan just pushes it. Good decision to just set it in the middle. Down the pipe.
Santiago just on a mission in today's game. Being so active on the offense of Cherry TIGGO. Mapaharap, mapalikod. She will find ways to that lead for Cherry TIGGO.
That means he's in double digits already. with 10 points. Dina Wong makes something out of this. Still alive. Chance ball. Balik kay Regine. Bumalik sa Choco Mucho ang bola. Pongay, her version of a back row. Nabor and PDL saw it.
With the form of Nabor, Bea De Leon clearly saw that she was going to go to that 1-2 play.
Yeah. Kita mo sa forma ng katawan, ano na talaga, titira talaga. And PDL will not allow it. Number 5 in blocking. That is her 17th block of the tournament.
Service error, this time on the side of Choco Mucho.
Battle of the coaches. Also, for sure, an intense one. 12-8, back-to-back service errors here by the two setters too.
We still have a 3-point lead. That's still a little bit comfortable for Cherry TIGGO.
But are behind a set. So it is crucial for them to get this one. Best of 3 semifinals. Wala pong twice to beat dito sa format ng Premier Volleyball League.
Again, they're targeting the wing spikers of Cherry TIGGO.
Another overpass, pero nanggigil si Jaja.
Yeah, you have to give the opportunity to your opponent to set the ball. And that will be a clear overreaching violation called on Jaja Santiago.
Definitely. Clear as day. Who will Regine target? Woo! Perfect. Umuusok pa yung bola ni Jaja Santiago.
You just imagine if they go to a zero tempo play. Kasi sometimes may pagka-differential pa eh.
Spike of the set brought to you by Duncan. Neil, for those who are new watching volleyball, what did you mean by that?
Zero tempo, that's the fastest quick attack. Differential, medyo mas mataas ng konti.
Pero hindi open, hindi
Yeah.
mataas na open. Somewhere in the middle. That's Lumer Parajillo talking to Jaja Santiago as a point goes to Choco Mucho.
They were asking for a check ball, but the lines judge called it outside.
Lead is down to 2. Easy ball here for Choco Mucho. What will they do? We haven't heard from Kat in a while.
You know, should maximize yung side-to-side play. You go to your open hitters, and suddenly you go to reverse. And when the middle blockers keep on moving, it will open up a lot of holes in the defense of your opponent.
Of course, the goal is to, if you not have no blocker, at least one blocker for players like Kat Tolentino. That was low. She knew it as soon as she hit the ball. Lead is still 2. And Jaja, who has had her own problems today. Look at her talk to herself because she knows it. She's had her own problems in serving. The #1 server in the league. Overpass.
The #1 server of the league challenging the wing spikers of Choco Mucho. Mukhang parehas sila ng strategy in that aspect.
You're right, you're right, you're right. And why? Why go to the wing spikers? Again, this is, you know, so that the audience can understand the nuances of that. Why attack the wing spikers in terms of the serve?
But if you target the open spikers or the opposite spikers, you change the tempo of their offense. Mas delayed sila in going for their approach. So that's the thing about targeting them.
That's why you often see Alyssa getting a lot of these balls, Pongay getting a lot of the balls in this game. Si Paat kanina yung tina-target ng Choco Mucho.
And it also plays a huge impact on the psychological factor of the game.
Right.
If you make a couple of mistakes from the reception. Paminsan nadadala mo yan when you go to the front line.
Myla Pablo is one of those that also gets attacked a lot. In the meantime, Cherry TIGGO up by 3, 16-13.
Compared sa mga challenge ay maganda mag-block flow. So, bigyan natin respeto. Pero, challenge na doon. What out? Nasaan ang confidence?
We just stick to Coach O's game plan, the game plan of the team, para kasi we have like a strategy on how to block the certain player or how to defend the certain player or kanino magsiserve. So, ayun. Siyempre, it's gonna mean a lot. Kasi first time namin mapasok sa Final Four and siyempre, isa rin yun sa mga goals namin. So, we also want to make the management proud, their Bisco management proud, and also para yung mga puhunan namin, yung mga lahat ng pinaghirapan namin, malalabas din.
Second best blocker in the league. Second only, as I mentioned, to Riri Meneses. But wow, the gap. 46 for Meneses going into the semifinals. 24 blocks para kay Maddie Madayag. It doesn't say anything bad about Maddie, but Riri is just on another level this tournament.
Yeah, medyo peak talaga yung performance ni Meneses in this open conference. But for the competing teams in the semifinals, they know that it's anybody's ball game.
Right now,
it can be Petrogas, Creamline, CHOCOMUCHO, or Cherry TIGGO in the finals. We have yet to complete the best of 3 to determine kung sino yung maglalaban for the first round of our PVL Open Conference.
First ever professional champion. And that makes a difference because this is not a Final Four format. But nobody has an advantage, a clear advantage. Pantay-pantay na pumasok sa semifinals as Gaston gets it off the outside hand of Jasmine Abor.
That has been her strategy since the start of this ball game, not challenging the taller Santiago.
Kind of smart,
Yeah.
I'd say. Oh, that drops in. 1 point lead na lang to. 4 to kanina. No, sorry, that's 5. It was a 5-point lead.
Now the pressure is on Layug on the receiving end for Cherry TIGGO.
For those who just tuned in, she replaced Mylene Paat at the start of the second set. Another faulty first ball. Nagkabanggaan pa si Nabor at si Layug. And we are all tied at 16.
Lina Rocha, we know that she can pull up an MVP performance for Choco Mucho.
3-time NCAA champion.
Sabi nga ni Coach O, she was the titan of the game during that win against Petrogas.
That's right, that's right. All. Kumapit at tumabla itong Choco Mucho.
Mylene Paat back in the ball game.
And they attack her right away, but this time, because it was a better reception, Mike Ortiz gets the point. I know we keep saying it, Neil, and sometimes it's I guess an oversimplification of the game, but sometimes that's really what it is. I know a lot depends on that first ball.
And we call it as we watch the game. And yun talaga yung nangyayari.
Ayun na naman. And as you guys always say, it's the first point of attack, and if you can get a 3-point right away, why not? As Dindin Santiago, who has 14 aces coming into the semifinals, just got another one for a 2-point lead. Shaya. Mylene wants to redeem herself here. That is a touch by Mylene Paat.
good time to go to that running hill. You have to give Maddie Madayag her touches para maging komportable siya in going for those attacks.
7.7 a game coming into the semifinals. The change of the direction of the ball there. Pinky of Mylene Pa. Rotation error. And we're tied again.
They had a good lead at 4, if I'm not mistaken,
4 pala,
a while ago.
pinakamalaki. Oh.
But again, they've been giving away a couple of unforced errors.
15-11 and 16-12. Joy De Imus was the one who spotted that rotation error.
And again, they're still leading in attack points compared to Choco Mucho.
But now Choco Mucho has made it all back and taken the lead. And Coach Aaron will call this timeout. Choco Mucho has now lead after being down by as much as 4 here in the second set. They also have 1 set in their pocket. Talking about the Flying Titans, the number 3 team entering our Final Four phase. Earlier today, Creamline pulling off another 5-set win over Petrogas to lead their series 1-0.
That was an intense game, Bo.
Yeah. We were both watching it here with Billy Capistrano and Mosey Ravena. And down the wire talaga yung 5th set. As Nabor perfectly sets it up for the run and gun for Micah Ortiz at the corner.
You know it's gonna be a problem. Pag hinin ni Mike yung bola intentionally.
Ultra has been active. Wow. Wow, what an angle. Well, that should be good for her confidence.
Trying to make up for a couple of mistakes a while ago.
That's tough, and she's far from the net too. Wow. It's impressive. Cat with a bomb.
Tied at 20 all. It will boil down to whoever will be solid on the floor.
Look at that.
But still, this is a good rotation for Cherry TIGGO. Kahit na nasa likod na si Micah Ortiz, you still have Jaja Santiago to attack the defense of Choco Mucho.
Din. Pongay was there. Hindi na naghintay. Si Jaja, why not? 21-20, sorry.
The taking charge of the tail end of this set. Up top.
Look at nice angle, nice cut of that wrist to avoid the block. Tolentino on the open side. Buding, the secondary setter, chased by Wong. Buck set to Paat again, and she scores again.
Back-to-back points for Mylene Paat. Timeout for Coach Oliver Almagro.
22-20. Down 2 are the Flying Titans of Choco Mucho, but up a set towards the end of this second set. As expected, we kind of warned you that this is going to be totally different from yesterday's matchup where it was no bearing. This one is for a lot of bearings. Not yet all, but a lot as they start their best of 3 series. Misfiring. That is out though, and there's no touch.
And she knows it, but he's asking for one more point para makabawi si Jaja Santiago.
May pagka-miss-hit ba yun, Neil?
It was just a little bit too high and too much muscle on that hit.
Well, Choco Mucho is gonna take it in whatever form right now. Better first ball by Doror. Paat though! Passport denied.
Now you see the energy from Ponggay Gaston.
22 all.
It's a test of character and composure for both of these teams.
For sure. 4-game winning streak. Coming into the semifinals. Wow. And they take over the lead on a service ace. And it is Coach Aaron's turn to call a timeout. That is a 3-point run after Coach O called that timeout. Sinabi niya, kaya natin to, ginagawa natin to. And right on cue, 3 straight points for his team. What a game so far.
5 points for Regine Arocha with 3 aces.
Shaya, easy ball to take for Regine, which sets up Kat Tolentino for that attack and a set point for the Flying Titans.
Now, when you have that confidence on the service line, you'll put so much power in that hit para lang magulo yung depensa ng Cherry TIGGO. And you have Tolentino waiting in the wings, ready to score for Choco Mucho.
A serve for a 2-sets-to-love lead. The team that might have to play 8 straight days to win a crown. The tip is not good enough. Denden will set Kat. And Kat will give them the second set. That is a 5-point swing for a 2-sets-to-love lead for the Choco Mucho Flying Titans here on One Sports. come from behind win in the second set by Choco Mucho, Neil. They were down 20-22 after Coach O called the timeout, and they rattled off 5 straight points to take set number 2 and a 2 sets to love lead. A 1 set away from a 1-0 lead in their best of 3 semifinals.
And they might not have the same attack points as Cherry TIGGO, but they will still continue to milk that service line and hope that they get their touches on their blocks to have a good amount of lead against the crossovers.
One of the strongest characteristics of Choco Mucho is, at least from what we've seen here in this version of the PVL, is their discipline. And parang bumabalik dun sa disiplina nila yung nangyari dito para kay Coach O. As we give you this team matchup brought to us by Ribisco. It will be interesting to see the numbers this time, Neil.
Still, Cherry TIGGO has more attack points, 15-12. Pantay na sila sa blocking, but the 8 unforced errors of the crossovers cost them that second set. Lalo na yung padulo na.
Dulo, yun. 17 na yan in total for Cherry TIGGO from the 9 in the first set. And you're right, a lot of those 8 came at the end when they had a 2-point lead. Reception errors, attacking errors. And now, they will have to climb out of a hole and extend this to a set number 5 if they want to win. Of course, for Choco Mucho, they don't want to do that. And the chant from the team, from the bench players of Choco Mucho, loud and proud here, seeping through the microphones inside the PCV Social Civic and Cultural Center in Bacalay, Ilocos Norte.
Right now, we have the leading scorers for both squads. For Cherry TIGGO, you have Manabat with 12 and Adorador with 6. For the Choco Mucho Flying Titans, Gaston and Tolentino are tied at 7 apiece.
Nabor will get us going for this rally. And another one. This has been the story of the game so far. Errors of the reception and some service miscues from the #1 serving team left here in the semifinals.
Knowing the schedule of Choco Mucho, they just want to end this as fast as possible because they've been playing for how many days already. But for Cherry TIGGO, they still have to polish their ball game from the service line and the reception to extend this to a fourth.
I mentioned earlier yung mga nakalaban ng Cherry TIGGO sa dulo, no? Which was a tough road after that Santa Lucia loss. But I think it was not tougher from a consecutive day standpoint dito sa Choco Mucho. At yung huling dalawang nakalaban pa kanila, sabi nga nila, Creamline and then yung Cherry TIGGO.
That's another point for the Flying Titans.
Oh, this is trouble. 3-0.
Siyempre, you don't want to give the momentum back to Cherry TIGGO because once they have that going, they can be unstoppable and they can make a comeback in this game.
Definitely have the tools for it. Three serving 0.
Another service ace for Choco Mucho, which brings the lead to 4. An emergency timeout for the crossovers.
The expression of Coach Aaron Velez earlier during that timeout, Neil, parang may konting exasperation, frustration. I'm sure they did not expect to be down
Yeah.
0-2, 0-4 here.
And for sure, hindi rin nila in-expect na ganun na mahihirapan yung mga receivers nila in this game.
And to think sila yung kahapon naglaro 2 sets with the starting 7, the starting 6 or 7. So you'd think, just by those circumstances, they would come out the sharper and more rested team. But it is Choco Mucho who's really bringing the game to them. Wow. The defense has been scrambling for Choco Mucho. And the offense has been good. 5-0.
That's the thing about Regina Rocha. All of the players on the court will have their own roles and responsibilities. It might not be the scoring, but yung non-scoring skills para sa kanya.
Spike of the set brought to you by Duncan. Well, she's number 10 in receiving and digging, so she's climbing up the ranks. Itong si Regina Rocha of the teams, of the players left there in the semifinals.
They have 10 service aces so far against the 2. Let's make
Gawin
that
mo na 11.
11.
And that is the 10th team in terms of ranking, in terms of service. They are last. 1.03 a set ang kanilang average. Ganun kababa. Aces, and nobody is more excited and happier because everything is rolling for Coach O.
9 points for Bea De Leon.
Another chance ball here. And another opportunity maximized.
With that double chest bump. No, they're just cruising so
Yun
far.
Oo eh. Everything is flowing. May mga laro talaga na ganyan. Neil, I'm sure you've been part of many runs na parang you cannot do anything wrong. And it seems na you're getting every loose ball, making every pass perfect, blocking every spike. There are games na ganyan,
They get their first point, talking about the
Finally.
crossovers. And the 18 errors has been costly for them comparing to the 7 of the Flying Titans.
In classic Choco Mucho fashion. Yung 7 yan, total yan, That's not a set. If that's the number that they had a game, right? That 7 lang yung
Yeah.
errors nila. So, all in all, so they're right there. Again, it's about their efficiency and discipline. The push, Buding keeps it up. And finally, an answer. Dindin, who is the one leading the parade here in scoring.
This is their strongest rotation offensively with 3 attackers. And that will definitely be our spike of the set. Brought to you by Duncan.
No other, but down the line. Kill. 2, serving 7, and another service error, boy. Technical timeout. We will be back.
Yung game namin kahapon, sobrang importante siya. Alam na namin na non-bearing yung game kahapon. Yan nga, sabi ng coaches, kapag nakuha namin yung game kahapon, sa amin yung momentum. Ito na, ilalabas na ng Choco Mucho yung totoong laro nila. And syempre, ready din kami. Sobrang important every game, every point. And ibibigay namin lahat. Stick to one another. Yun talaga, we win as one.
Well, hopefully, for the sake of Shaya Dorador and the rest of Jerry TIGGO, the momentum goes back to them because it's totally on the side now of Choco Mucho. And just for perspective, obviously that interview was conducted prior to the start of the game. So at that time,
These are the hits na pwedeng magbalik ng momentum sa team mo. Solid hitting from Jaja Santiago.
Yun the expression. Wala na raw siya magagawa dun. It's just a 5-point lead, and the good news for Cherry TIGGO here, this is early in the third set, hindi sa dulo. But these errors are piling up.
I'm not sure if this happens with other sports too, but in volleyball kasi sometimes you let one scorer off the hook and prevent the other players from scoring. So talking about Jaja, sige, let's let her score kasi sometimes it will really be hard for us to defend.
Right.
But let's not allow the other players to get as much touches as her.
It does happen in other team sports. I guess the closest example would be basketball. If you know you have a #1 player who is a major scorer, as we look at the spike of the set brought to you by Duncan, and you know you have a hard time stopping him, you control the others, and sometimes it won't work still, but a lot of times it will. Then we'll save this one. Lead is 5. Micah asking for it, but it's too low. Arocha finds a crack in that wall.
They're loving that hit.
Oh, they're loving everything today.
For Cherry TIGGO, it has been Jaja Santiago and Dindin Santiago Manabat. And if Micah Ortiz can join in the scoring picture as well as Shaya Adorador, this can be a different storyline talking about this third set.
You know, if we want to go back, Neil, to our pregame conversation, we did say that one of the X factors here would be Mylene Pat, and she has been quiet, and part of it was because she has been attacked from the service by Choco Mucho. And that will be, what is the decision of Lumer here? A point for Cherry TIGGO.
Wala na, nasa kabila ng bola, pinalo niya. Okay na.
Tama.
Yeah, that was a good call.
Tama,
it was
tama.
still Cherry TIGGO's
Correct,
ball
correct,
as
yeah.
Dina Wong went over to their side thinking that it was already out of bounds.
Right, you're right.
That's a good call. from
Legal,
referee,
oh,
yeah.
legal yun. Actually, a good non-call by letting it just go, no? Oh. 5 lang to. And if you're Choco Mucho, Neil, you cannot relax also. Hindi ka pwedeng, okay, be happy for sure, yes, but you cannot let your guard down.
Yeah, because there were some games na malaki yung lead ng CHOCOMUCHO, but there's that sense of being too relaxed kaya nakakahabol yung mga kalaban nila. So you have to keep that same level of intensity moving forward.
Mylene Pat back here, the girl that we just talked about, the supposed X factor. Oh, that's in. That was going to drop in. At least from our standpoint, Neil, I want to make sure that the audience also understands yung orientation natin, Neil, medyo yung camera natin malayo so nakikita natin sa gilid. Iba yung pag nandyan ka sa sahig.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they're really going dun sa mga kanto-kanto so that the defenders will actually think twice if it will go in or outside.
Right. Parang borderline, ano. Tipped in again. She has been really just saving this Cherry TIGGO team right now. Cap. Shaya. Den. Tolentino na naman and targeting Nabor this time. Again, rather.
Same strategy kagaya ng ginawa ni Ponge Gaston. Tolentino targeting the right hand of Jasmine Nabor.
Lumusot pa nga sa gitna.
So far, so good for the Flying Titans.
Arocha serving again. Nabor. Pat. Was that blocked or was it too low?
Maybe we can check the replay. It's hard to see from this
From
angle.
our angle, yeah. This is an 8-point lead regardless. Let's look at that.
Look like a good touch
Yeah,
from Bea De
yeah.
Leon.
Legitimate block. So now it's 8. And Coach Aaron pressing the panic button now. Probably one last attempt to try to rally the troops para kay Coach Aaron Velez. Mylene Paat only with 3 points today. We talked about her earlier and how important she was. Paat coming into the semifinals averaging 7.44, but it's really not the number per se for Mylene Paat. It's the activity, the receiving, and of course as an extra option to Jaja, Dindin, and Micah.
It's surprising that Cherry TIGGO only has 3 block points so far in the
Yun.
ball game.
There's a lot to look at for the tape if you're Coach Aaron Velez going to review this game. Buding. Mababa na naman, pero pumuntos pa.
Again, you have a tall Jaja Santiago. You can't give her a low ball. Good thing she was able to adjust. So that's still a point for Cherry TIGGO. Mukhang the Santiago sisters will take charge in the offense.
Well, kailangan na.
Come back.
Desperate times. Giselle C comes out for the first time. So she will set. Replacing Nabor. The anticipation skills of Dindin, Lazaro Revilla really from game to game. They lose the point for sure, but you know the way she provides coverage gives so much trust to your blockers and your attackers too. Na para humampas ka lang na humampas.
Good substitution for Cherry TIGGO as Giselle C will score her first ace in this ball game. Advantage ng Cherry TIGGO yung bench nila. It's also a deep bench. Marami ka pang pwedeng hugutin dyan to find that good connection with your spikers.
Timeout naman si Coach O. Naniniguro dito sa third set.
Next coach, may tatanong makikita. Kasi one, na hindi tayo nainis-inis na naman tayo. Babalik na naman tayo sa umpisa. Yes, coach. Kailangan lang tayong paliwala sa sinasabi at paliwala sa kasama. Bea, alam mo, tinutuloy sa iyo. So, huwag ka mag-isa. Pangalawa, dito na tayo papatak sa galaw. Galaw. May kasta ka sa harap.
Neil, I have a question for you before we return play here. What has Coach O adjusted as he made the transition from men to women? What do you think? What do you think?
Iba kasi yung system, iba yung mindset also of the players. There's a different temperament to women's volleyball
For
compared
sure.
to men's volleyball. Defense-wise, it's also different. The starting position on the backcourt is different. So, medyo madami din talaga. It took some time. But even before men's volleyball, alam ko nag-coach na rin naman siya sa women's.
Right. Matagal din siya sa Lasal with the women's. And I only ask that because, again, you pointing out from a technical and strategic standpoint, iba, meron din emotional and temperament standpoint. Okay, good. Humahabol dito, Cherry. They were down 8 earlier. They have already cut that lead down in half. And the rally continues. Pick up there. Tolentino trying to finish the play. Long rally here in set number 3. They go back to Dindin at the back. Rejected. Regalo. And that stops the bleeding for Choco Mucho.
Not the cleanest of rallies for both of these
Yeah,
squads.
right.
But still, Bongay Gaston got that one off the regalo.
Nakakumpul na dun sa harap nitong Cherry TIGGO. So after that 4-point run, back to a 5-point lead. Biggest lead was 8 at 14. Sorry, 6 at 14 to 8.
Better set for Jaja Santiago.
Maybe Giselle C would be the spark plug here na hinahanap ni Coach Aaron Velez. Nabor has had a hard time. It's a tough time. Veterano na to si C. She's been through a lot of playoff wars with FEU and also with her clubs.
Yan, the strongest rotation for Cherry TIGGO.
Yeah.
So ito yung pinakamagandang chance na makahabol sila.
Ooh. Talking about the full front line. 16-11. Abante pa rin ang Choco Mucho halfway through the third set.
Huwag natin madaliin yung mistake. Kasi kailangan kung mamadali mo siguro, hindi makakasita. Okay. Again, girls, again, precision sa serve. Tiwala sa depensa mo. Kailangan natin, love at depensa. Yun ang panlaban natin, depensa. Okay? Tsagayan sa depensa, walang bigitaw, mamamadali. Now, pins, walang problema pins. Pag nagka-transition, pwede mag-play kasi nakatunan sa parang kita sinasara. Okay, let's go.
We're halfway through set number 3. Dito po sa One Sports Plus for the matchup between 2 and 3 in the semifinals. Abante ang koponan ni Denden Lazaro. 16-11.
Yup, that was an overreaching
Baliktad naman.
violation from Madi Madayag.
Not giving Giselle C the chance.
They're still ahead by attack points, talking about the crossovers, 9-6 in this set.
But just being neutralized by errors upon errors. Good serve. Reverse. And Cat scores.
Valentino proving to be one of the most reliable hitters for the Flying Titans.
Almost 40% in terms of her success rate in attacking. Third best scorer in the league. With over 15 points going into the semifinals. But receiving. And everything really, right now, pointing towards a Choco Mucho game number 1 win. They are 7 points away.
And when you keep on going to Dindin Santiago Manabat, mababantayan at mababantayan din siya eventually. And the coverage of Cherry TIGGO was not present in that last sequence.
18-12. Back to Cat, make something out of that. Shaya will bump it to the other side. Somebody touched the net. Palabas pa naman yung bola na yun. And Micah is like, ooh, finally, something. Dina Wong disagrees, but he apologizes. She apologizes to Lumer Pajarillo.
Yeah, we don't want a yellow card at this point of the game.
Ayun na, Maddie trying to calm down the referee.
Sabi ni Maddie, chill lang tayo.
There's only an allowable, diba, leash for the players to complain. Rocha pointing towards it, but it was wide.
He wanted to go for that zone 1 because he felt he was her blocker. But it was too strong for Regina Rocha. It was just a 4-point lead for the Flying Titans. Cherry still not out of this ball game.
Definitely not. Yung pag gumalaw, ang score nila. 2 straight points for them, for Cherry. Passing error. Buding. Climbing back. Cherry TIGGO. That's a tester character for them if they can come back here. especially with the way things have been going.
Ibig sabihin nila, kung dito yung mali, eh maglulog ka dito. Nakaload yung dalawa na yan. Nakaload din lang. Hindi pa tatakbuhin mo lang kung isa din si Rudy dito para makita mo na niya na gumagalaw yung legal mo. Ay, hindi na niya. Hindi na niya. First line ka. Now. Pag nasabi ng bola, over it.
We pick up at the 18-15 mark of the third set. Cherry TIGGO trying to come back here. And broken by that timeout. Good timeout by Coach O, icing the sixth best server of the league. She knew it. That was important. That was very important. Might be very expensive.
Later, when we get to check the numbers, for sure these players would be surprised with the errors that they gave up.
Sabi ko nga eh, yung team meeting nila mamaya. Cat. That's out. Binibigyan pa sila ng konting silip dito ng Choco Mucho. A little window here to come back.
Cherry's a good serving team. Kailangan lang nilang ipasok muna yung mga services to have a chance to defend.
Yeah, tell that to Jaja. She's now on deck. The number 1 girl. Sorry, it's Dindin, the number 6.
Look at that. 17 big points
Grabe.
for Santiago Manabat.
What an approach by Regina Arocha. You saw it going into that launching pad. He was so determined to go for the kill.
The angle was already set.
Yeah.
Down the line sigurado yung pupunta to challenge the block of the cell C.
2016. Saved there by Shaya Adorador. Oh! And another error at the net. This time, Santiago miscalculating the push.
You can just feel the frustration on the face of Coach Aaron.
Yeah, that's the word. Tina Wong. Buding, hinatid kay C. Ortiz swipes it to the other side. Chance ball, somebody. Oh, it's Pongay who's in the back row. I think she overstepped that one. Overstepped the back row line. Sorry, 21-17. Still a chance here. But they have to make their move now. Oop! Ortiz with the service ace.
Again, they're one of the best serving teams in the league. So Michael Ortiz will try to continue to score from that area. For Choco Mucho, you can't be too relaxed. You need to get that one stop and have your rotation.
Pongay. They're gonna replay the point. No whistle yet, but oh no, Joy Diimos is going to check something, the technical table. Now ready to play. It's 18-21. Chance here for Cherry TIGGO to cut into this 3-point lead. Ang baba ng bigay pero nakuha pa rin yung puntos. And Coach Oliver Almadro is fuming.
At this point of the game, you really need to go to your highest percentage player, and that's Jaja Santiago.
Kahit na medyo misset pa siya. Tolentino gets it through.
That puts a stop to the run of Cherry TIGGO. They're trying to maintain that 3-point lead.
Choco Mucho is crawling to the finish line here. Arocha, 22-19. Bump set. Buding. Bad cross court. Pongay was there. Pongay asking for it. Chance ball here for Choco Mucho. Cap Tolentino. Sumobra yung momentum ni Giselle C. Couldn't hold on to her.
The reception was too tight
Yeah.
for her to set that ball. Yeah, it was too close to the net.
Yep. Yep. Shoulder hitting the tape of the net underneath. 2 points away from a game #1 win. Targeting again the end zone, but this time it is Mylene Pad.
Even though that she was the target of the services, she will still try to contribute on the offensive standpoint.
They needed more of that. Will it be too little too late? Pongay. I don't know, was that going out, Neil, you think?
Looked like it, but judgment call on the side of Saya Adorador. Nakunin yung bola na yun. But yeah, it looked like it was going outside. Medyo mataas yung palo ni Pongay.
Match point. (24-20) Cherry TIGGO in the semifinals is looking at the sweep, but on the other side of that sweep though. Good serve by BDL. Shire with a push. The point will be given to them. Oh, a touch. So it's 21-24. Ready to receive and ready to attack is Kat Tolentino. Maddie Madayag gives them game #1 of the semifinals.
After that straight set defeat yesterday, Choco Mucho comes roaring back and takes this game via sweep. And they go up 1-0 against the Cherry TIGGO crossovers in the best-of-3 semifinal series.
We'll take a break. We'll be back to wrap this baby up. It is a sweep, a 3-set win by the Choco Mucho Flying Titans, the #3 team in the semifinals. 25-18, your confirmation of the win. 25-22 and 25-21. A little bit of a fight back by Cherry TIGGO in the third set, especially towards the end, but just not enough.
Yeah, CHOCOMUCHO just really did their homework. They observed Cherry TIGGO in yesterday's game and made their own respective adjustments, choosing to go to Mylene Pat on the service line, and it worked for CHOCOMUCHO.
Ai Tensai will talk to our player of the game right now there in Ilocos Norte.
Good evening. Here with me is player of the game. Dina, this is your first match in the semifinals and you swept it in 3 sets. What was the dominant factor that you had to keep in mind while making your place in the team?
Mindset. Mindset talaga. Personally for me and the team, it's going into the semifinals na dati this was our goal.
Yes.
Pero the job's not done. So kailangan pa magtrabaho, kailangan pa mag-improve. So
Another question, how important is your setter-spiker connection here in the semifinals?
very important. You really have to know each and one of your spikers kung ano gusto nilang set, kung saan sila, kasi yan talaga magdadala sa play, yan talaga magdadala sa game. So, I think the the one, sorry. The one big factor siguro is that nagkakasama na kami dati nung college, the
Yes.
system, the family, the team. So, yun, very important talaga.
Yes. And there you have it. Do you want to greet your fans, Dina?
Fans?
Yes.
Siguro, first and foremost, I want to greet my family lang. So, Dad, if you're watching, para sa'yo to. Mom, coming home soon. To all the fans out there, thank you. Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. Team, management, Risco, yeah, CHOCOMUCHO.
Yeah, there you have it. Congratulations, Dina, and the rest of the Flying Titans. Expect another pack of intense matchups tomorrow in tomorrow's game.
Thank you, Ai. Well, she says coming home soon, but I'm sure they don't want it to be real soon. They want to extend some more, maybe win a couple more matches to get that championship, but they're on the right track by winning the first game of the semifinals.
Yeah, and the setter's position for me is actually the hardest to take over. You have to adjust to all of the players on the court. The receive from your libero, the digs from your teammates, and each and every spiker will have a preferred type of set.
Right.
So again, it was a well-deserved POG honors for Dina Wong for keeping that connection with her attackers.
I always say the engine that keeps the team running is the setter. It depends on her how the engine will run. And today the engine ran efficiently. The team ran with a lot of discipline. They kept their errors down and they forced a lot of errors on the other side.
Again, it was a balanced performance for the CHOCOMUCHO Flying Titans. Everybody did their job well, from attacking to blocking, from receiving and especially serving.
Okay, let's focus our attention on Cherry TIGGO because they're the team that has to make the adjustment, Neil, as we look at some of the highlights of the 3-set win of the CHOCOMUCHO Flying Titans. If you were to make a whiteboard, write the things that you're going to talk about in the meeting, what would be the stuff that you will write?
I only have 2 points for Cherry TIGGO. Number 1, you have to play it clean. Kasi napakadami rin talagang errors na
Sobra.
binigyan for a straight set match. Number 2, for the wing spikers of Cherry TIGGO, they have to expect coming into game 2 na sila pa din yung magiging target. So they have to be more steady on the floor.
Which means, ultimately, that first ball has to be better. Whether it's the wing spikers or the liberos or whoever, they gotta be able to receive better because they were not able to maximize, you know, Din and Jaja. And Mylene Pa today was supposed to be our X factor.
Yeah, that's just a glimpse of the firepower and full arsenal of Cherry TIGGO. But coming into the second game, expect them to make their own respective adjustments.
So today, Creamline Cool Smashers win their series in game number 1 of their series, rather. And then, of course, Cherry TIGGO crossovers go down against the CHOCOMUCHO Flying Titans. So bukas, palitan tayo ng schedule. Sila naman ang mauuna. Sila magbubukas ng aksyon dyan sa Ilocos Norte. And then, Creamline Cool Smashers look to repeat, or the Petrogas Angels would want to delay the march of Creamline to the finals. For Neil Flores, I'm Boom Gonzalez. Everybody watching on One Sports and One Sports Plus, maraming salamat. We'll see you tomorrow for more semi-final action here on your Premier Volleyball League.